Hi guys, I'm Doritos, and today I'm going to be showing you guys some absolutely game-changing 4-4-2 custom tactics. 4-4-2 is obviously the most traditional go-to standard formation in football and in FIFA as well. It's a formation that's always had a place, but never really been at the forefront of the meta this year. Obviously, the 5-back is so dominant, and the 4-4-2 is almost one-dimensional that it almost just falls out of place. The only time you really see it at the forefront is when it's in the hands of someone like Anders, just someone that's obscenely good at the game. So my main aim with putting together a 4-4-2 custom tactics with this has been to make it way more dynamic and not dead symmetrical. Like with a 4-4-2, generally whatever the left side of the team does, the right side of the team does. There's no kind of give and go. It's all kind of working in unison, whereas I wanted to put together the tactics in a way where you can give your opponent a lot more different looks than normal. It's not just 4 people committing forward, 6 people sat back and working that way. I wanted it to be way more dynamic in the sense that you've got overlaps, you've got the potential to counter really directly, but also be able to play a possession style of play as well. It was just about making it as dynamic as possible and as competitive as possible against the likes of the 5-4-1, the 4-3-2-1, etc. Getting into the custom tactics, start with the defensive style. We'll just leave that unbalanced. The defensive width is going to be on 35. This is quite compact, but I just find this is the most effective way to defend in this year's game. The depth is going to be on 60. This is a really, really nice balance between not having the automatic offside traps, not leaving too much space in behind, but still being able to manually press as well. Moving into the offense, the build-up play is also going to be unbalanced. The chance creation at direct passing to pin the opponent back. The attacking width is going to be 60. The only other formation you guys will have seen me put quite a high attacking width on is the 4-2-3-1, and that is also because it does have the left mid and right mid, and it can really exploit spaces in the middle by stretching the opponent out and utilising those wide midfielders. So 60 depth is a really, really complementary width for this formation. Players in the box 6, with the level of sort of stay back instructions and balanced instructions we're going to have in this formation, 6 I found was definitely the sweet spot between getting enough numbers forward to overload, but not having too many forward where you were exposed. Corners and free kicks, I just leave this on 1 because I hate the cheesy counter attacks, but feel free to put this on whatever suits you guys. Moving into the player instructions, both of the strikers are going to be on stay central and nothing else. So the stay central is all about keeping those strikers present in the box, in positions to receive passes, always there to be threaded through with through balls. You always want them in the centre of the park, occupying the centre backs. We don't need these drifting out wide because this formation naturally has a lot of width. We've got dedicated wide players, so the stay central is about keeping the strikers in where they make a big difference, and that is in the centre of the park. I do not feel a need for a getting behind instruction, especially if you've got good attackers, which pretty much everybody does at this stage of the game. I'm sure you guys have 2 strikers, 3 strikers, whatever, sitting in your club that have fantastic AI that are going to do much better runs for you than the getting behind instruction is going to assign to them. If you really get on with that instruction, by all means go for it. I don't think it's necessarily going to harm the tactics, but me personally, I always find that with this kind of setup, mixed attack works absolutely spot on. Moving on into our right midfielder and our left midfielder, so there's going to be a little bit of a dynamic here. So your right midfielder is going to be on comeback on defence and get into the box for cross. The left midfielder is going to be on comeback on defence, get into the box for cross as well. But additionally, your left midfielder is going to be on the cut inside instruction as well. And there is a very good reason for that, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Just to reiterate on the get into the box for cross instruction, this is just very important for when you are working that ball across the box, that your wingers do tuck in and are present in the box as an extra number. It just helps them get on the end of passes as you've worked the ball in, and it just helps them get on the end of things as well. It just helps getting people with the good final product in your team in those positions to score goals. As for this cut inside instruction, I'll get to that in just a moment. It's when we get into the wing backs that will make a lot more sense. Both of our centre midfielders are going to be on stay back while attacking and cover centre. Where we've placed the depth and the players in the box on these tactics, they're naturally going to be right involved in that final third anyway. And the stay back while attacking just basically stops them from fully committed to like the 6-yard box. They're still going to be there on the edge of the box to link up the play and still offer you those passes in the final third. Cover centre, this is all about keeping them right in the middle of the park, breaking up the midfield play, interrupting your opponent's attacks. We don't need them drifting out wide because we've got our left mid and right mid on comeback on defence covering the wide areas. We've also got our wing backs obviously covering the wide areas as well. So you want these two centre mids both bang in the middle, breaking up the play. Moving on into our wing backs, our right back is just going to be on stay back while attacking. They are going to be our more defensive covering wing back. And then our left back is going to be on balanced attack and overlap. So the cut inside instruction on our left mid and the balanced overlap instructions on our wing back are going to kind of work as one thing here. So when we're on the attack, our left mid is naturally going to tuck inside more, leaving that space in the byline for our left back to overlap and create an overload on that side. This enables us to get in behind a lot more frequently, and you naturally then have more numbers to work the ball into the box with as well. So it's just a way to overload your opponent, and because it's only on one side as well, it creates this really weird imbalance where the opponent really can't cover everything. It just works fantastically. It started off as just a general idea I thought I'd try, and I was absolutely blown away by how well this actually works. Your centre backs are just going to be on the default, which is stay back while attacking. The goalkeeper, I also just leave this unbalanced. However, if you like the comes to crosses and sweeper keeper instructions, go for it, but that's just not my thing. I just leave this unbalanced. For the types of players that are best to use for this formation, there's not too much to go through. It's definitely pretty standard, like what you would expect from a 4-4-2. Most of you guys will know what the best kinds of players to use are, but I'll give you a quick run through just to give you an idea. The main things are in the front four. For your strikers, I would definitely recommend a left footer on the left and a right footer on the right, just because a lot of the chances are going to come shooting across goal. The outside of the foot shot trait definitely helps with that, so if they can both have that like I've got here with Mane and Puskás, that's definitely a bonus. Great ability on the ball, so that comes in the skill moves and weak foot on both. It's nice to have a bit of a balance, like 1-4-5 with the other 5-4. Obviously perfect scenario is them both being 5-5. Them both being somewhat physical definitely helps with most of their chances coming inside of the box, just being able to hold off defenders and such. So that is a bonus, but I don't think strength is absolutely necessary. But if one of them is strong, it just helps just that little bit in the final third. You want them to have as good as composure, finishing, attacking positioning as possible, but essentially just go for the best that you can get your hands on for these positions. For your left midfielder and your right midfielder, it's definitely kind of the same as the strikers in the sense that you want a lot of ability on the ball and a good final product. Ability on the ball is definitely the most key thing with your wingers, because in a 4-4-2, a lot of the play comes through those wide areas. So it's really important that these guys can do as much as possible for you. Turn really easily. You don't want no trucks on the wing in this formation because you're very reliant on them. So really good agility, balance, dribbling. The composure stat once again always helps. Stamina is actually very helpful with how this is formatted because they are tracking back on the defense as well. Strength is not necessary whatsoever, but skill moves are definitely a bonus. On the left midfielder side, if you guys set your team up where out of your four sort of key attackers, one has some defensive capabilities, this is a very sensible way to set your teams up so you have got that kind of flexibility. The person who has that defensive capability is generally best being your left mid, because even though both of your wingers are going to be on comeback on defence, it is your left mid that is going to be covering the space left by the overlapping wing back. So it's more important that the left midfielder, with how we formatted this, has some defensive capabilities. It is not necessary, but it just helps. For your two centre midfielders, won't say much here. You want a big man, a little man, both with defensive capabilities. You want them to be able to turn nicely, and I generally find with how involved they get on the attack, a left foot on the left, a right foot on the right, even in these positions, does help. 5-star weak foot is absolutely a bonus. These two never misplace a pass unless I just do something silly. So these guys, I absolutely cannot fault them. 5-star weak foot is a huge, huge help. For your wing backs, starting with the left back, you want them to have as much ability going forward as possible, as rounded as possible, high work rates. The more ability on the ball, the better. You essentially want these to be a winger that can also defend really well. So someone like a Davies, probably the upcoming team of the season, Theo, is likely going to be a good card there. Nuno Mendes is okay, but he hasn't got the skill moves. But yeah, I mean, Alphonso Davies is an absolute blueprint for this position. For your right back, it's not so necessary for them to have ability going forward, but a bigger frame definitely helps with them naturally being the more defensive orientated player. Additionally to that, it helps if you want to move into a 3 or 5 back to have a bigger wing back that can transition there. Meunier, again, is a very much a blueprint player for a more defensive wing back. Kyle Walker is another example of this. For your centre-backs, you want to be fast, strong, lengthy. As always, height isn't too important, just so they turn good. So a decent agility and balance always helps, paired with that speed and lengthy running style. I would definitely definitely aim at this point in the game to be looking for defending and sort of reactions and composure to the level of this Marquinhos card, where it's basically just completely maxed out. Because anything less than that at this point just essentially is like not good enough. To be honest, you need them to be as automated as possible at this point in the game. Marquinhos is absolutely exemplary, and I'm sure you all know how Ramos plays in this game. As for your goalkeeper, literally whoever works. I hope you enjoyed the video today, guys, but more than anything, I hope you enjoy the tactics, and if you do give them a go, let me know down below how you got on with them. These tactics are definitely lended to a more manual, pressing, aggressive style of play, so they're definitely not something that will just cater to everybody. So there is that, but give them a go regardless. It might just work for you. If you do like your custom tactics and you're looking for some other formations, I will link to my custom tactics playlist in the description below for you guys to check out. If you did make it this far in the video, guys, as always, I really appreciate your time. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and turn your bell on. Take care, guys.